It's all covered in today's China Truths.
Beijing's housing market is in free fall, and the crash is unfolding faster than anyone expected. Prices aren't just slipping, they're collapsing across the city. Luxury villas that once opened at 4.8 million yuan are now begging for buyers at 3 million. Yet buyers still hesitate. In the West Third Ring, developers are slashing units from 30,000 yuan per square meter to barely 5,500. What was once the peak of China's real estate pride has become a citywide clearance sale. Forget Hebei, Zhuozhou, Yanjiao, or Huanwan. Beijing itself is now cheaper than its own outskirts. Homes that were once multi-million-yuan assets can be picked up for a few $100,000. The second-hand housing market is frozen, with 99% of owners unable to sell at any price. In some communities, prices have crashed from 231,000 yuan per square meter to just a few thousand. A villa in Chaoyang that once required 9 million now sells for 6 million. Even old residential blocks from the 1970s are collapsing in value. What was 30,000 yuan per square meter during the boom now goes for barely 8,000. Chaoyang neighborhoods once topping 120,000, 140,000 are now struggling to hit 70,000. Yet authorities still insist the property market must be fully released, naming Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Sanya as cities ready for total relaxation. For investors, that message reads like a warning flare. Economists have long cautioned about the domino effect of China's real estate bubble, and now it's smashing through the economy at unprecedented speed. In 2023 alone, prices in some areas dropped 40%, and more buildings are following. In Lize, one of the hottest fringe areas, 3 units sold back-to-back after a shocking 44% collapse, Beijing's steepest drop so far. Panic selling is spreading, and confidence is evaporating. Earlier buyers, from the early 2000s or even 2010, still stand on mountains of profit, watching homes bought for 8,000 yuan per square meter, now worth over 100,000. But the real tragedy lies with buyers from 2020 to 2020. They bought at the peak, only to watch their life savings dissolve within 2 or 3 years. Their assets didn't fall slowly. They were wiped out almost overnight. Beijing has become a city overflowing with empty units and desperate sellers. Since 2015, panic selling has intensified every year, and prices continue to slide with no signs of stability. Rents are cheap, vacancies are rising, and entire neighborhoods feel abandoned. 3 years ago, a unit sold for 12 million yuan. 2 days ago, the same layout traded hands at nearly half that amount. Beijing's housing market isn't cooling. It's collapsing, and the bottom still isn't in sight. Beijing's property market is spiraling into chaos, and the cracks are widening by the day. A unit once selling for 8.7 million yuan is now collapsing in value, and big developers like Shanghai are dragging entire districts down with them. In Shijingshan, survival means one thing: drop your price or die on the spot. When Shanghai slashes, every surrounding building is forced to follow. No one can hold the line. 90% of Beijing's new homes are ice cold. Halfway through October, many blocks have been forced into steep price drops just to get a single visitor. Even Chaoyang, Beijing's golden district, is bleeding. Heguang Youth Mansion at Guigazhuang opened at 88,000 yuan per square meter, but now averages just 60,000, 63,000. Land cost alone was 69,000. Developers aren't just losing money, they're selling each unit at a loss. Qinghei's Shangshu Bay, once Haidian's top luxury residence, just witnessed another collapse. A unit sold for 9.37 million. Even with its parking spot thrown in, signaling that Wangxiangfu and the entire area have officially fallen from the altar. Chaoyang's second-hand market isn't any better. From old steel frame blocks to new luxury towers, every price segment has crashed. Owners are suffering across the board. One homeowner told me both his Chaoyang apartments either dropped 20% or are already underwater. Beijing was supposed to be the safest market. Not anymore. Traditional hotspots like Wangjing, Xinmeiyuan, Laobeiyuan, Chang'an, Dongba, and Yizhuang-Hexi, all high-quality areas, have taken heavy damage. The fantasy that Beijing homes only rise has shattered. If a 5 million yuan home can rise to 8 million, it can fall back to 5 million just as fast. The market owes nobody a profit. Back in 2021, sellers didn't even need to try. Just mention 5 million, and within hours, someone offered 5.5. Some buyers even broke their mortgage contracts to chase higher prices. Now sellers cling to that old 5 million figure, refusing to budge, while buyers only offer 4.8. And that's today's sincere price. Tomorrow, the next buyer might only give 4.5 or even 4. This isn't pickiness, it's supply and demand flipping over. Pride won't save anyone. If you can sell today, you should sell today. Those who refuse to cut by 400,000 are now losing 600,000 now, and the window is still closing. Many who bought pre-2021 haven't even gotten their property certificates yet. Their cages have already shrunk in value before they could legally resell. Beijing bloggers released a chilling Great Exodus list, showing which communities are dumping homes fastest. And it's not just remote suburbs like Miyun, Huairu, Shunyi, or Fangshan. Now even high-end villa zones like Longshan Xishan, V7 Hetong, and Banshan City are on the list. The fire has spread into Xicheng, Beijing's supposedly unshakable core. Two famous school district communities even appeared on the sell-off list. That has never happened before. Auction rates have hit 10% across several districts, an extreme danger signal in the real estate world. When 1 in 10 homes is being auctioned, the market is no longer cooling, it's collapsing. One owner just slashed their price by 500,000 below neighboring units just to escape. They bought at 1.42 million. Now they're barely getting 1 million. Profit? They're grateful just to survive. Luxury zones aren't spared either. Changshu Bay, once a symbol of prestige, has crashed by 30–40% depending on the building. Villas that were 7.1 million now hover around 3 million. Even with 70-year property rights, buyers simply don't want them. Banks are tightening, buyers aren't biting, and even near-zero interest offers can't lure anyone back in. Some people who bought in 2019 are now regretting deeply. One seller in Shijingshan broke down crying after offloading their only home. They bought at 3.5 million and now struggled to get 2.39. They refused offers last year at 2.6 million, losing 600,000 by holding firm. Those 600,000 didn't disappear. They evaporated. Beijing's housing boom from 2015–2017 pushed many locals out, forcing them to chase cheaper properties in Yanjiao, Shanghai, Dachang, Tianjin, and Baoudi. But after 2017's strict land policies, those areas also collapsed. Entire ghost districts of unsold second-hand homes now surround Beijing. Some buildings have prices returning to 2015 levels and still can't find buyers. The outer Beijing dream is gone. No one knows when this crash will end. The truth is, not even banks want to touch these homes anymore. Some regions are dumping properties directly. No middlemen, no markup, just liquidation. It feels less like real estate and more like emergency triage. Shanghai's property market is unraveling at terrifying speed. Homeowners are panic selling, and price collapses once unthinkable are now happening every single day. The worst-hit luxury villa community crashed from 5 million yuan to 400,000 yuan, and still can't find a single buyer. A neighborhood that only 1% of Shanghai could afford 15 years ago now sells for under 10 million. A home once worth 14 million is now barely 8 million. What looked impossible is now reality. Experts warn that 80% of Shanghai's housing market is entering its final shakeout. After this last surge, the city could fall into complete stagnation. One wrong purchase can cost a family 400,000 to 500,000 yuan overnight. 10 years ago, Shenzhen, Shanghai, Hangzhou, every first-tier city was exploding upward by over 50%. But after years of reckless leverage and the shock of the pandemic, the bubble finally ruptured. Today, China's housing market is collapsing across the board. Properties aren't selling, rents are sinking, and entire districts feel hollowed out. Even Shanghai, once the financial backbone of the country, is struggling. Layoffs, shrinking incomes, and mass unemployment have left thousands unable to sell their homes. Second-hand prices have been slashed nearly in half in some areas, and buyers still aren't coming back. Agents are begging landlords to stop panic selling. One seller in Songnan No. 8 village bought a 69.9 square meter home for $3 million, only to sell it desperately for $1.7 million. Another owner listed a fully renovated 1.7 million yuan home for 600,000 yuan, throwing in all furniture and appliances for free. Investors who once dreamed of wealth are now just trying to escape. The situation became so severe that Shanghai rolled out housing voucher resettlement policies, coupons that can only be used to buy property, forcing residents undergoing urban renewal to re-enter the housing market. Districts like Jinshan and Jiading introduced vouchers years ago, but now even Shuhui, in the heart of the city, has adopted them. The government isn't hiding it anymore. They want people to buy homes at any cost. The stories get more heartbreaking. One landlord bought a Shanghai apartment for $3.5 million and spent nearly $200,000 on renovations. Today, it's barely worth $2 million. A real estate agent showed a one-bedroom home in Putuo District's Yichuan 6th Village, fully furnished, south-facing. Compared to its peak price, it has crashed by more than 50%. Even agents who see price drops daily are stunned. As of October 2025, China's second-hand housing prices have fallen for 42 consecutive months. A 50% crash isn't news anymore. It's normal. Mortgage defaults are exploding nationwide. The most tragic victims are those who bought at the peak. Some paid 9 million yuan in down payments in 2022 for villas that will never be delivered. 2 years later, they have no home, no refund, and no options. Just online listings showing 400,000 yuan per floor. The collapse is so deep that even at these rock-bottom prices, almost no one dares to take over. In Jack Ma's prophecy, it's happening. Homes will one day be as cheap as cabbage. In parts of northeast China, units now sell for 153 yuan per square meter. 1 month's salary can buy an apartment. If China had been this affordable, no one would have feared homeownership. Now people wonder, will Guangzhou be next?
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.